What's going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday, and welcome on into the Ryan Ripken Show. We're live at 5 every Monday through Friday. How about that? We'll get that on the banner, Zach. Live at 5. Big baseball day today. Mondays and Thursdays, a little bit more on the football side. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, especially during the MLB Hot Stove, we're going to be diving into a bunch of topics. Got a few today. Qualifying offers. Talk a little bit more about one of the signings that happened. That was a big bat in Josh Naylor. And then apparently there's a bat that everyone wants, but the one team that could be in on them is not what was on your bingo card. That and a whole lot more here, and we'll explain in a little bit. But Zach, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Yeah. No, happy, I guess, qualifying offer deadline day just passed at 4 o'clock. Had some shockers. So that'll be fun to talk about. But yeah, just I feel like MLB offseason is the most hectic because there's nothing going on, but everything's going on. Because you never know when someone's going to sign. Rumors are flying through. Obviously, winter meetings coming up. It just this time of year, things escalate very quickly, and it's a fun time.
It is a fun time. I mean, you know what's crazy is that we're a week away from Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Stove's been turned on. And then the stove's going to get a lot hotter as we move into next month because then the winter meetings, which stop traffic, we plan to be down there on December 7th is when it's kicking off. And, Zach, we're not going to have all the answers here over the next few weeks, but we are going to start to get a few. And then it's football season still. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good time. Like, as much as when we talk about an MLB offseason, there are worse times. The worst time, honestly, is like January, like leading up to spring training. And even like beginning the spring training is okay. But right now, this is the fun period.
Yeah.
A lot of speculation.
I'm intrigued on actually how after the post-Christmas, like that January time where we kind of see that dead period occur before more players kind of sign right before spring training. I'm intrigued to see if we see less of that this year with the World Baseball Classic, especially the bigger name free agents, especially if they plan on playing or whatever it may be. I could see maybe that speeding up the process a little bit. But yeah, no, this is a fun time. This is fresh start for, I guess we had our first big signing, I guess you could say, re-signing, but first big contract handed out in the Major League Baseball offseason.
Yeah, we did. Before we get into that, got to shout out our friends over at Merit Clubs and meritclubs.com. Hey, how you doing? There's that logo in the top right corner. Shout out them for their partnership with us. Appreciate them. Can you hear Ollie's squeaky toy?
No, I can't.
Oh, that's good. That's good because you know who can hear it? This guy right here.
Yeah, right, I can't hear a thing.
Well, that's great. I'm glad you can't hear it, but I hope all of you can hear this. At Merit Clubs starting on November 21st, Zach. All right? November 21st. That's in 3 days. That's starting Friday. They are starting their Black Friday special. You join and you get the rest of the 2025 year for just $20.25. You get that, Zach? $20.25?
Ooh, I like that. 2025.
How about that? And on top of it, Cyber Monday, then on December 1st, you join and you get the rest of the year for $1. So if you're like, you know what, I want to wait another 10 days, well, you can join for the rest of the year for just $1. And how do you spell $1, Zach?
MERRITT.
When I move, you move.
Just like that.
Appreciate Merit Clubs. All right, Zach, that's signing. Who signed? Enlighten the people.
Yeah, so 2 days ago, we got the breaking news from Jeff Passan that first baseman Josh Naylor and the Seattle Mariners are finalizing a 5-year contract that we later find out is at $92.5 million over 5 years. First baseman free agent is the first major free agent to sign this winter, goes back to Seattle, where he was beloved after joining the Mariners in a deadline trade. So came over from the Diamondbacks. And this was a guy who it felt like he gelled perfectly for the Mariners. He was a guy, he's a high energy guy. He's a clubhouse guy. Everyone you talk to absolutely loves this guy. And I think this was big for the Mariners to get and keep him. I think this was a big signing for them. He was a big free agent, not only on the field, but off the field in the dugout. So this was kind of a priority for me if I was the Mariners. So good for them for getting it done and also opening up the wallet a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, people were wondering the Mariners if they would invest in their offense. Well, they traded and they made a run. You had Naylor, you had Suarez. So, yes, they invested to win a championship, but can you invest in a longer term, situation? And the answer was yes, they did. And Josh, even in the press conference, was saying he loved going out there, loved the energy, and felt like it was the right fit. So you knew what you had there. Plus, with the success that the team had, you're one win away, a couple innings away, really, from going to the World Series. Yeah, you felt good about where the direction was going. And I think the Mariners are going to be good again. And Josh Naylor, he's not that player initially when you hear his name to go, oh, man, that's a unbelievable player. But actually, to me, it's an unbelievable signing for the Mariners because I do believe he is a really good player, but no one puts him in that category is what I was trying to go with here, Zach. So last year, 20 jacks, 92 ribbies, 295 average. Yes,
30 stolen bases.
30 stolen bases and what? One of the slowest guys percentage-wise.
Third percentile in speed.
You don't have to be built for speed to be a good base runner, by the way. He does a great job with the tactic. He likes to walk into his lead. He likes to lull the pitcher to sleep, and then, hey, how you doing? He's taking off for second base. But that matters. Doesn't matter how. Matters if you can steal bags, and Josh can steal some bases. And he's not in the primary market of when we're looking at the big boppers that are going to be on the market right now. And I'm talking about Pete Alonso is one. Cody Bellinger, I'd still put in that higher tier right now for as far as value. Alex Bregman. But again, if you are a team that likes a good player, Josh Naylor is a good player. He makes the Mariners better. I mean, right now, Zach, if I'm Seattle and I'm looking at the rest of the AL West, yeah, I mean, adding him with what you have, especially in the pitching department, they should be right back to being, in my mind, they should be the favorites to win the AL West next year. And they should be really encouraged about where they're going.
Yeah, I mean, this was a perfect fit. This was a guy they had to keep. Obviously, I said top priority for them because the pitching staff is legit. This pitching staff, there's never a question. We've said it before. And it's funny, we talked to Ben Verlander before the season, and he was, screaming from the mountaintop of like, why does this team refuse to go all in on their lineup when this pitching staff is young and dominant and just as put together as any staff across Major League Baseball? At the deadline, obviously, it helps when your catcher suddenly turns into a 60-homer threat. That really helps the lineup. They added Randy Arozarena at the last year's deadline, not this past season, the year before. This season at the deadline, they bring back Eugenio Suarez. They get Josh Naylor. And it felt like they finally went for it, and they reaped the rewards. Furthest they've ever gone in a postseason. 3 wins in the ALCS. And it felt like they needed to keep this core together, keep this thing going. They had something good going there. And how many times have we talked about, like, when these guys are having fun, when you enjoy going to the clubhouse every day in that environment, it does help winning. And I think he brings that kind of culture to the Mariners clubhouse that they really need. And hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This was a guy who fit perfectly in the lineup. Him batting, like you brought up, batting 295. That's not something that I think people really talk about enough. Like that's one of the top in baseball. Like, you don't have as many 300 hitters as you once did. That's really important. So not just a power threat, but also has that good bat to ball contact. Really, really, really like this signing for Seattle, or re-signing.
Yeah, I mean, average-wise, average still matters to me. There's only 6 hitters that were qualified this year, Zach, that hit over 300, and Josh Naylor hit 295. Exactly. So there's that. And then if you're an average guy, well, not all of you are going to be RBI guys. And guess what? He was an RBI guy, 92 ribbies. That, like, you need boppers in your lineup, Zach. A little bop. And right there, if you're looking at also in the context of Major League Baseball, Josh Naylor was 27th in baseball in RBIs out of the whole league. So he was a top 10 in average, top 15 in average. I think it's top 10, actually. Top 10 in batting average and top 27 of overall players in RBI. And that's one player. Yeah, I could care less if he hits 20 jacks or 30. Drive in runs, get on base, make something happen. And chemistry is a big thing. Some people think we have chemistry, Zach. Hey, how you doing? Right? Just kidding. But yeah, totally. But that this relationship, Zach, of us being able to work together and talk and be able to shoot the shit, that matters, and that matters in the locker room. It's not something where you sign best player, that best player then comes in and elevates your group occasionally, but it also depends on the fit of your team. And we've seen it. We've seen players that you didn't think would be a fit that turned out to be perfect. And we've seen ones that you thought the talent's there, that they're going to jump in and have success. And usually it's around when you look at super teams. Oh, this is a super team. They're going to go out there and gel, and they're going to just light the world on fire. It doesn't work that way. I mean, you can say the Dodgers, their organization and culture is really damn good, and they were able to overcome a lot. But most of these teams, people thought the Mets were becoming a super team. They made all these moves, and they couldn't stop losing down the stretch.
Yeah.
So, and again, it's not
and
saying.
I mean, go with the year before. The Mets were struggling. They didn't have all the great players. What Jose Iglesias comes in, starts this, oh my God, song. Suddenly, they have the grimace thing, and like they're having fun, and suddenly the next thing you know, they ride that wave all the way through the playoffs. Like that happens. So, no, I agree, and I think a guy like Josh Naylor, it's a perfect fit. This is a guy that if you lose, you see that not only on the field but in the day-to-day stuff in the clubhouse. I think you miss him.
You certainly do. And again, he's one of those guys when you watch him. I mean, he's a polarizing player in the sense you either love the energy and maybe some of the antics you see on the field, or you hate him, right? Usually that's one of those guys on your team. You love him. Not on your team. He might not be your favorite. I think he's entertaining.
Let's just say this: if you give up a big time home run against him in the playoffs, you might not be the biggest fan. But he's never claimed to be anything but that. Like, he's not one of those guys. And this is the big thing for me. He's not like a, quote unquote front runner where he's doing all this stuff. And then when he's losing, like it's, you can't be doing. He is himself the entire time. If they're down, if he hits a solo home run and they're down 5-3 now, 5-2 now, he's coming in that dugout just as fired up, trying to get the guys going again. Like, he is that guy for 162 games a year. It doesn't change day to day.
He's a peacock. You got to let him fly. Mm-hmm. And he flies, and he flies the same way. He's authentic to who he is. So Naylor goes back. I think the part that's interesting here, though, Zach, is not that Josh Naylor went back to the Mariners, is that Jeff Passan reported that the Pittsburgh Pirates were aggressively pursuing him. You're like, whoa, Pittsburgh spending some money here. Hey, now, the deal, if I'm not mistaken, do you have that tweet at all, Zach?
We know it was around. We know it was $80 million, and actually, it came up when it was reported that the Pirates are in on free agent Kyle Schwarber. They offered, we now know, according to Jeff Passan, at least $80 million to Josh Naylor before he signed with the Mariners. It's funny. My first reactions from people on the interwebs was actually a lot of Mariners fans just saying, what life would have been like if they would have been outbid by the Pittsburgh Pirates. But it seems like the Pirates, hey, people made jokes when the Pirates, last week it kind of came out, or a week or two ago. It's like, hey, the Pirates are apparently going to spend. Like, they are open to spending, and everyone's like, uh-huh. Oh, yeah, I'm sure. Oh, the Pirates are, yeah, I'm so sure about that. They didn't get the guy. But if the Pirates are already offering over 80 million, maybe we see some action head into the Steel City. Maybe.
Still looking at the report, the funny thing for me is seeing the Josh Naylor press conference still in my mind. And then you're like, oh, wow, that's great. No, the Pirates are going to spend more. And then it's just whammy. Oh, yeah, the Pirates are interested in Kyle Schwarber. They offered Naylor $80 million. Million. And it went from like 0 to 100. Now, I want to preface at least this conversation is in some cases, when there's smoke, there's fire. In other cases, it's off-season hot stove. Is the team just trying to put themselves out there to say, hey, we're interested. Hey, we're just letting you know. I think that the Pirates are in a position, Zach, and I think their fans would agree with this, just like we've heard it in Baltimore. That's great you have interest in a guy. It's great that you're in on him, but we'll believe that you're going to spend when we see it. Like that's the reality. And so,
I mean, it's the same, obviously different sport, but it's the same as when we joke about the almost Ravens. You know how many times a superstar's moved? That's like, oh, he was almost a Raven. It's the same in this situation. Like you're saying, it's cool to be like, oh, they almost had it. Last year, it was cool when it was like, oh, the Orioles almost re-signed Corbin. Oh, the Orioles were almost in on this guy. But, it'll be interesting to see if they do get somebody, because like you say about Baltimore, I'm not sure it's always going to be a money issue for someone to be like, okay, I'll go to Pittsburgh for 5 years and trust that organization.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing too, for Pittsburgh, they got to upgrade their lineup. You know why? They were dead last in runs scored during the season.
Yeah.
Third worst in batting average in baseball. That's two parts. And if we want to go a little bit further here, Zach, you want to guess where they stood in home runs on the season?
Would it be dead last?
Dead last, Zach. Good. Should we keep going here? How about RBIs?
Dead last.
Dead last. There we go. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Mm-hmm.
You know what they weren't dead last, though, in?
What's that?
Strikeouts. They were only 7th worst in strikeouts. So putting this together, you can tell they need offensive help, because when you flip to the other side, Zach, this is how we rock and roll here. They have a lot of things to work on, but when you have Paul Skeens and you have some of that young talent that you have, Pirates had the 7th best ERA as a team last year pitching. So even if they are adequate and they can keep up with those numbers, Pittsburgh should be better. I mean, you have to get better. And this is the part, like when fans are complaining about teams right now, right? The Pirates legit, they have a couple young pieces, but that's the definition of unproven and not enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they don't have enough. When you look around some of the other teams, like we'll bring Baltimore to the occasion because people compare about spending, even though the Orioles did increase their payroll the last year. Might not have been the sexy move, but they paid some guys. But you know what the difference was? They have young talent. The young talent didn't stay healthy or didn't perform. So the Pirates, the question is about young hitting talent. So if not, enter Kyle Schwarber, enter Josh Naylor in the conversations. But to be honest, Zach, if the Pirates want to be back in this, they need like 2 or 3 of these guys. Like they and I'm not talking about free agents. I would go and get a bat. That's why I think the Orioles and Pirates, you know what, that could be a good deal. There's pieces that make sense in a trade. But if you're not going to make trades, they'll certainly get the attention of people. Certainly will. You wonder this, though. Did I see you, by the way? Is Skeens pressuring them to spend? I wouldn't say that Skeens is pressuring them to spend, but I think the pressure of not winning with Skeens is going to grow, Zach. Is that fair to say?
Without a doubt. If they sit there and they don't, like, let's even talk about successes going to the playoffs. If you have a guy that there very few guys get deemed a generational talent and live up to it, and sometimes go above and beyond expectations, but that's what Paul Skeens is doing. And honestly, with the talent they have in the rotation behind him, and you have young guys coming up like Bubba Chandler. Connor Griffin is the number one prospect in all of baseball, Chandler being the 14th. He's a starter. They have these guys not only on the team now, but coming up. And yeah, it's not going to be enough. And your clock is ticking with Paul Skeens. It is becoming something where I do not see, and I don't think it's crazy at all to say, Paul Skeens will not be signing long-term in Pittsburgh. I would be very shocked unless a few of deals like this occur that puts Pittsburgh into the perennial powerhouses. I don't see that happening. But I think it is pressure that, hey, you have this guy and you have to win with him. Because if you don't, it goes down. It's almost like the Angels. When the Angels had Shohei and Trout, there were times I don't think Shohei or Trout ever told them, hey, we're going all in. We have to go all in. But there's pressure to win with those guys because you have to, because what's happening right now, everyone laughs at the Angels. They got, a singular playoff appearance out of Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani in the same lineup. Last thing you want to do is be on that level where the only reason that you get talked about in someone's career is because how disappointing it is that they started there.
Yeah. And you want to take pressure off yourself of all the questions of when are you trading Skeens? When are you trading Skeens? What's it going to take to trade Paul Skeens? Well, those questions die off, or the repetitiveness will lessen if you go out and show that you're going to compete. Because I'll be honest here, Zach, the Pirates, because of the infrastructure with their starting rotation and just their pitching staff in general, yeah, like they are the definition of you go and get 2 or 3 good bats and they play to a certain level. The Pirates should be infinitely better. Like they should. If you got Schwarber in this case, and I mean, I don't know, Schwarber's deal is going to be interesting to me because is it a 3-year deal? Is it a 4-year deal? Is he getting 160? Is it 180? I don't know how to fully value out that, but you're hoping he hits 40 some jacks, which I don't see why he doesn't as long as he's healthy. He coming off an almost MVP campaign, right? So the Pirates truly are a definition of they are a couple bats away, because if you can pitch like that and you were dead last, and what was the Pirates record last year? Being dead last in all these offensive categories. They sat at what? 71 and 91 with the worst statistical offense in the game. If you get even you're the 20th best, I think that's at least worth 5 to 8 wins. You get to the middle of the pack, we're talking about this team being over 500 and being in the postseason. Like that to me, it's there. And if not, then if you're not trying to win with the best pitcher in baseball, then what are you going to try to do? It's a luxury that you have the dude that people are saying could break the Cy Young Award record, which that's still pretty crazy getting the 7, but dude's legit. Pirates got arms.
They got to spend. They have to spend because of that. Because, like you said, even if you add 2 guys to this lineup that just make it league average, I'm not saying this team competes for the playoffs, but you probably win half your games, close to at least. And that's a step up because, I'll tell you right now, we talk about obviously the eventual Skeens, being there and stuff. Maybe there is a chance down the line, but I can tell you it's not if you win 71 games every year. Then there's no way he would want to return. Now, if you're winning 90 plus games because you spent and added to the lineup and built around him, then maybe you have some traction. Then maybe you have something to, stand on. But if you just hope that Paul Skeens is gonna, and all these guys are suddenly just gonna be like, actually, you know what, I'll stay here and commit to this organization that hasn't committed to winning in Lord knows how long, I don't see that happening.
No. And again, this is a believe it. We'll believe it when we see it.
Yeah,
it's hard to see you go from zero spending to going after one of the top free agents because financially he's going to cost a lot. Mm-hmm. He is going to cost a lot, but time will tell what the Pittsburgh Pirates are going to do. But we do know that Kyle Schwarber, among a lot of the big boppers, man, someone's going to pay them, and they're going to pay a pretty penny. And by pretty penny, I mean hundreds of millions of dollars, Zach.
It's
thank you.
Going to be crazy. It is going to be absolutely. This is going to be a fun offseason, I think.
It's going to be. Well, we they're not the free agents, but we did get a little bit of other news on some other players that could have been, but now they aren't. Begins with the letter Q.
Yep. We had our qualifying offer deadline coming today. Trent Grisham of the Yankees, Gleyber Torres of the Tigers, Brandon Woodruff of the Brewers, and Shota Imanaga of the Cubs all accepted the 1-year, $22.025 million contract to return for 2026. 9 other players rejected the deal. We'll get into them in a second. But Shota, I don't think was a massive surprise, and I do want to point out this was a record. This was the most ever accepted qualifying offers in an offseason. I think Woodruff doesn't, I saw stuff about Shota and Woodruff both kind of not wanting to deal with opposing teams' physicals, go back to a place that you're comfortable with. $22 million ain't bad either. Torres, I think he fits the Tigers. You had a career year there. I'm not sure what his market would have been like. I think $22 million is good for him. The biggest one, well, I think $22 million is a great value or a great deal for him. And it kind of seemed like a no-brainer for him. I think the shocker right now is that, one, Trent Grisham coming back to the Yankees. I don't think the Yankees really planned on that, or maybe they did, but I don't think people expected him to accept. And the biggest thing is that's $22 million now. Trent Grisham on the books for the Yankees, taking up an outfield spot that we had kind of talked about. Okay, does Kyle Tucker go in there? Are they, bringing back Bellinger? What's the plan there? Now maybe that changes a plan or two there. Do they have to now trade Jason Dominguez? Certain things now, questions at least arise in New York. So that was kind of the only shocker, I would say, of the group.
Yeah. A 22 mil, it's a nice little contract for a year.
Yeah.
To say the least. And, Shota was interesting of that, like on that list right there, mainly because I feel like if you like a guy and we're looking at the market, I guess he's thinking he isn't going to get north of 25, a year. And there's some doubts. And if there's any doubts, why not go back, like you said, to the team that you like and do it all over again? Because that's a good 1-year deal that you're rocking. And you don't want to – it's almost like you're betting on yourself, too, to go pitch well again and you can increase your stock. Grisham, to me, the qualifying offer there, it's just really fascinating with Grisham because, I like him. I don't think that's a $22 million investment that you wanted to make. Just because, again, you're looking at a guy. I know he's a toss-in when it came to the Soto trade, but last year he had 34 jacks. Prior to that, he never hit more than 17. Yeah. He had 235 and he drove in 74 runs. I just don't. If I'm him, absolutely. It was a no-brainer you're going to take that qualifying offer, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but the Yankees, though, at least in this case, if it's $20 million, and they're not looking to go after maybe some other free agent arms. I think their rotation's pretty good, for what they have and what they need to do. Their priorities aren't bad. So with that qualifying offer extended and knowing that this could be accepted, maybe that was a plan all along of like, all right, we might have a little bit more capital to spend, but we're also thinking that this 22 mil is going to be on its way and accepted. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't understand why it would be out there unless you understood that
Yeah.
more than likely a guy like Trent would take that deal.
Yeah. And I think the biggest thing is, Trent Grisham, he is a platoon guy. He's not a guy that you necessarily bat versus lefties. And that kind of makes it more interesting because now you have to add a right-handed version to that platoon. I've actually seen a name floated out there quite a bit as Austin Hayes. But that's a roster spot of now, okay, a guy like Bellinger who hits righties and lefties both very well. You don't need a platoon. He's an everyday guy. If it was him over Grisham, now it's kind of taking two guys to make that what Cody Bellinger took as one. And now you have to go about roster construction in that way. Do I think this? I've seen some people like, oh, this changes the Yankees offseason completely. I don't think that. I just think now they have more decisions to make in a roster spot that they maybe not particularly thought, or at least we're hoping maybe they'd have more wiggle room with, because like you said, I think the biggest shock was that they put it out there.
Yeah.
Not that he accepted it. I think when he was offered it, it was like, okay, he's going to go out. He's going to see if he can maybe get a 2-3 year, $60 million contract. If not, he's going to come back and take that money.
Yeah. I mean, if we're just going to go off of if only the value was on stash game, then by all means, I might give Trent 150 million because that mustache is top tier. That is elite level mustache use. And I agree. I wouldn't even say it's a top 10 stash. I would put it in the top 5. Like that is championship level mustache. But the player Trent, I'm happy for him. I'm always for the player, Zach. I am happy that he's earning that bag. But when you're looking in the last 2 years, Trent hit last 3 years. Sorry. He hit below 200 in each of the last 3 seasons. And yes, the 34 jacks is great. There's no way you offer that without expecting that to be taken. That's just a huge chunk of money that you're putting out there. But hey, the Yankees, that they're going to operate in that way. Where it doesn't make sense for other teams, right? The Yankees were never going to do a guy like Schwarber because you still have the DH component, or I don't know, maybe they would consider it. You know what? Nothing surprises me with what New York wants to do. This one, though, did surprise me for the reason, but clearly they believe that Trent's going to play well in New York again, which I agree. Gleyber Torres, if you're going down the list, makes sense. Tigers took a chance on you. You like the feeling. Good year overall, like overall speaking, run it back. The Brandon Woodruff thing, kind of, you mentioned this before we did the show.
Yeah.
You wonder now with him coming back to the Brew Crew, is that going to make one of their other starters expendable? And the Brew Crew are notorious for moving a guy when he's going to more than likely not come back. So is that put Peralta on notice? That was the one you were talking about earlier.
Yeah, I think this, maybe changes that a little bit because the Brewers are a team where, let's be honest, not every team can eat $22 million. That's something the Brewers, they love them or hate them, the way they do business. They are going to put out a very good product, probably win their division every year with a team of guys that is not the highest paid group. So it is going to become interesting what they do because, Brooks, I see what you're saying. Yeah, Woodruff could also now be traded. What happens there? Yeah. This could just be, a classic case of the Brewers get something for him now. But I think the biggest question is going to be the Freddie Peralta. They said before they're not going to move him unless they're blown away. But let's be honest, they've gone back and forth on starters every offseason for pretty much since I can remember. It started with the Corbin Burns. And now we're here with Peralta. Wouldn't be shocked at all if now Peralta becomes more expendable and a team like maybe a Baltimore Orioles, a team that is looking for another. Sorry, heck, I wouldn't be surprised maybe if a Boston Red Sox throw their hat in for Peralta. So we'll be interesting to see now what the Brewers do with their abundance of starting pitching. I feel like we say this every single year because the Brewers just find ways to get and produce and develop these pitchers. But it seems once again like the Brewers, all eyes are going to be on them if there's a trade market for pitchers because they got a lot of good ones.
They really do. And the one part with Peralta, by the way, I mean, he shoved this year. 17-6, 2.7 ERA. You kidding me? Over 200 punches, 66 walks. Dude's a big-time player. The avenue, though, you're going to have to, more than likely, you're going to have to re-sign this guy because he is going to be an unrestricted free agent the next year, right? Because Peralta's contract was picked up, club option, which is a steal, like $8 million. And then whammy, the next thing. Oh,
I don't know why I just did that, but
why you did that?
Yeah, I thought it was going to make us bigger on the vertical. It didn't. It just made me the entire thing. Yeah.
Dope. Well, we can take this part off here and go, and whammy. So there we go. The Peralta, though, yeah, I mean, I think when you look at teams that have a track record to extend guys or not, that you trade for Peralta with the expectation that you get a deal done. Like the Red Sox, Garrett Crochet, they traded for him, but the plan all along was they were going to get the deal done. And I think that is a huge part of this if Peralta were to be. When I look at the teams, Zach, that have pitching that are trade partners, you look at the Mariners, you look at the
Marlins,
the Marlins, the Brewers, they're the Reds. The Reds are kind of like talking like, hey, we'll trade away some guys, but they have the pitchers. Like there are a group of them, and they make sense. The Brewers, though, like the Rays, that's just a team where they sit there and like, you know what? We're going to get some good value here. And then we're going to have these guys playing like their asses are on fire. And then we're going to just win ball games. That's just what the Brewers do. They acquire guys just like the Rays extremely well. They play well, and that culture is set. But make no mistake, if Peralta or Woodruff was available, either option is gonna get a lot. Yeah. It's almost like what's a more expensive option, a rental of Freddie Peralta of knowing what you have, or we talked yesterday about Edward Cabrera, who has team control and had his best year, but there's still a lot of different outcomes, right? My guess is Freddie would be the more expensive option even as a rental.
Yeah, I mean, I've been all in on Freddie for a little bit. I think he fits perfectly with the Orioles, at least specifically what they need. You've done this deal before for Corbin Burns, I think. Put a package together. Go get a guy that when you add in with Bradish, with Rogers, obviously creates more questions with Rogers and Peralta both being up at the end of the year. But for at least next season, hopefully you bring one of them back. At least next season, that 1 through 3, you can put that up with a lot of teams, and Baltimore is going to come away with the advantage.
Oh, yeah. For sure. There's a lot of thoughts I just kind of sit there and go, what's going to happen here? What are we going to do?
Could be fun, but we then have the other half of qualifying offer deadline day, which is those who declined the offers. It was 9 players: Bo Bichette, Dylan Cease, Edwin Diaz, Zach Gallen, Michael King, Kyle Schwarber, Ranger Suarez, Kyle Tucker, Framber Valdez. So 9 guys, 9 qualifying offers denied, which means these guys, when signed, would cost a first-round comp pick. You would lose a draft pick for signing one of these guys, which, if you want to speak specifically on Baltimore, Michael Elias came out and said that he is willing to do this year. But these are now guys where if you're going to sign them, not only are you giving up whatever big contract they accept, but you do have to now add in that first round pick or that draft pick compensation. So it will be interesting to see where they go. Some of these guys, I'm not sure if they go anywhere, but these are now the 9 guys who have declined officially their qualifying offers. I don't think there's a single surprise in here.
Shocked. Are you kidding me? Bo Bichette is a free agent. Ranger Schwartz, Kyle Schwarber that we just had the giant graphic about that says the Pirates are interested. I mean, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, baby. I'm going to stop with that act. Yeah, no surprise.
Yeah.
Zero surprise here. All these players are going to demand multiple teams, the price point of where they're going to be. And yeah, you take the risk outside of there of cashing in. And whether or not there's some question marks around the Gallons, the Dylan Ceases, someone's going to pay a lot for them because why? You buy stuff. You buy belief. You buy upside. So I'm really curious to see what is going to happen there. I do think certain teams, like if I'm the Phillies, I think you're trying to keep Schwarber. Ranger Suarez, I would be shocked if he comes back. Same thing with Framber. So it will be interesting. But of this, Zach, since you mentioned the Orioles qualifying offer, I would say it would be a pitcher. Like if the Orioles sign a guy, you're looking at a pitcher. And it would go against the MO, by the way, of the Orioles, not just on the qualifying offer, but typically they don't go out and sign big free agent pitchers. Like that hasn't been the philosophy. It's trade for or younger, injuries happen. But I think we're going to see a little bit of a different philosophy change here. So time will tell. A lot of guys that are going to be available. And this is a part of the stove that's going to continue to get hot. So hot in here. So hot in.
Actually, did you see who the Astros just DFA'd? Ramon Urias?
No way.
It actually kind of surprised me. I thought he was just a valuable piece, at least you would want an invite to spring training because he's just his ability to play everywhere, I thought. But, they didn't. So maybe Elias on waivers, pull a Kittredge.
I wouldn't be surprised. But also at the same time, I think you got to commit. In this case, Jeremiah Jackson was also a really good piece. But Ramon, what's great about him for any team is Ramon's just like, oh, I'm not going to play for 4 days. Cool. When you need me, I'm ready. Like that's a value. If I was another team, I'd value a guy that can play multiple positions and doesn't have to be considered an everyday player, and you just have him capable of making an impact. So thank you for sharing that. I think Ramon will bounce back on his feet. And you guys can hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We do this live at 5 Monday through Friday right here on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Zach, I put up on the poll, our poll question today. Will the Pirates land a big name free agent? And right now, 71% of the vote says hell no. So
not surprised. I'm not surprised in the slightest on that one. I mean, I would also be floored if the Pirates made a big time. Like I said, I don't even think it's a money issue at this point. Like, let's say they offer someone like if Josh Naylor got 92.5 over 5 years from both the Pirates and the Mariners. I don't see him going back to Seattle. I'll even say this: if he got offered $100 million over 5 from the Pirates and 92.5 over 5 from the Mariners, I still think he picks the Mariners. I think that's a harder, especially in an offense where you will have no protection. I could see it being a very tough selling point, just money aside. I don't even know if they offer big contracts, if it'll do anything.
Trade a pitcher and get a bat or two in free agency. That's it. That's the philosophy for the Pirates. And we can talk about it forever and ever. But today I think a little bit shorter show today, Zach, because we're live at 5. We talked for 2.5 hours yesterday. We got our baseball talk today. Not a ton else. We'll get into more football later in the week. We'll talk about some maybe guests that we could have lined up here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll be back for a little happy hour special there. And shout out our friends over at Merit Clubs. Again, $1 starting on December 1st for the rest of the year. Or if you're feeling a little Black Friday savings starting November 21st, you can get the rest of the year for $20.25. You get it because it's the year 2025. When I move, you move, Zach.
Just like that.
Just like that. Am I missing anything else?
No, I think we touched on all of it. See you guys tomorrow.
Great. Well, hey, I'm going to cue the music, but hit that like and subscribe button. Here we go. 3, 2, and is it playing?
No. I don't know why it's been suddenly not playing.
Down. Well, we appreciate each and every one of you. Hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking rest of your Tuesday, and stop traffic. We'll be back tomorrow at 5, live at 5 here on the Ryan Ripken Show.